I'm Jo Swinson. I'm the Minister for Employment Relations and therefore the Minister responsible for the issue of employee ownership, and delighted to be here at the launch of the one-year on report following up on the Nuttall recommendations, which of course were published last year. Well, this year we've done a huge amount in driving forward awareness of the employee ownership model, not least through Employee Ownership Day, which we held on the 4th of July, which companies up and down the country that are owned by their employees got really involved in, spreading the message about how this business model can be particularly effective for both employees and employers as well. We've also seen work done to try and simplify the rules around employee ownership, so we've made some changes to share buyback legislation, we've consulted on changes to taxation, and there's been an announcement of £50 million to support employee ownership, which was in the budget as well. So there's been a lot of good progress, but we're also very keen to maintain the momentum. When companies are owned by their employees, whether that's through one of the myriad of different structures, which includes mutuals and co-ops, what they often find is that their staff are much more engaged, much more motivated and productive, and they get better ideas flowing through. So this can be something which is really very good for business, and therefore it's a model that we are hoping that many companies out there will embrace, whether they're startups looking at what kind of model to begin with, or indeed, as we've heard today in the panel event, sometimes you may have very long established companies and they're looking to sell the company or have the succession planning, and in fact they decide that the best thing would be to give the company to the employees and carry on the ownership and the culture of the company in that way, rather than selling to somebody new. In terms of challenges that are still faced by employee-owned companies, and indeed those that are perhaps would be ideal candidates for it, one of the issues is still awareness. We need to get the message out there about how great employee ownership can be. And then also we want to look further at the issues of complexity, how difficult it is, whether it's through tax, whether it's through the law on companies, on trusts. And in fact we're publishing a call for evidence today to try to get more information from people involved in employee ownership on what complexities remain and how we could make it simpler. There's a lot of guidance out there that's been published which should make it easier for people, but again we want to see if that's doing the job that it needs to be doing, and also to see how we can use the tax system further to incentivise this kind of ownership. One of the ideas that had been floated was setting up an Employee Ownership Institute, and we've looked in detail at that idea with all of the people involved in the employee ownership community. And it looks like at the moment there isn't enough demand to back up the business case for that kind of institute, not least because actually there's already so many organisations working in that space that it might actually be leading to some kind of duplication, and so therefore might not be so successful. But we do already have, through the Employee Ownership Association and also organisations like Co-operatives UK, we've got a lot of momentum and push behind issues of employee ownership, and so we're actually going to look further at how we can work with those partner organisations to drive forward the basic objectives of making sure that employee ownership can reach more people.